Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to this course on transition metal organometallics in catalysis and biology. We have been talking about olefin metathesis in the last few lectures, and in that regard we have looked into various kinds of mechanisms which had been proposed for olefin metathesis and come across names like Calderon, Petit, Grubbs, Chauvin, and also we had seen the mechanism gaining consensus with regard to the correct one, and in that process we had seen how Chauvin's mechanism of having a metal carbene intermediate being accepted as the main active species for carrying out olefin metathesis reaction. In that regard, we had also discussed in the previous lecture about the seminal work by Professor Tom Katz, who had correctly predicted the olefinic products by using different olefin, explaining their formation through metal carbene intermediates. Now, in that point of time, we had also looked into the active species much more details, and what we had observed is that this metal carbene intermediate or metal carbene's moieties at that time can be of two types, as is better known as the Strock carbene and Fischer carbene. And in our previous class we had also looked into the type of bonding present in Strock carbene as well as Fischer carbene. And what we had seen that in Fischer carbene and both are carbonic moiety, but the way they differ is in the type of bonds they make, whereas in the Fischer carbene it is a ligand to metal sigma donation followed by metal to ligand pi donation, whereas in Strock carbene both are in covalent bond, both the sigma as well as the pi bonds are in are simple covalent bonds. So, one can say that this is dative bond between metal ligand, and this is covalent bond between metal ligand. So, in this context, another important discovery was made by Ardengo, and this is called this Ardengo's bottle-level carbenes. Now, usually a carbene can exist in the singlet and the triplet state, with the triplet state being more stable, whereas Ardengo successfully isolated singlet bottle-level carbenes, and that is why which is supposedly the excited carbene, and they were Ardengo could stabilize them, and the interesting thing about it is that they were so stable that they could be isolated and even crystallized, and that led to the discovery of this huge field of N heterocyclic carbenes, which were found to be excellent ligand for and have great catalytic properties. So, this Ardengo's bottle-level carbene became a big hit in the area of homogeneous catalysis, and we will just take a brief moment to discuss these carbenes in bit more details. Ardengo synthesized these from their imidazolium chloride salt in presence of sodium hydride as a base, which resulted in formation of this singlet stable carbene in 96% yield, and it is kind of high stable, very stable with melting point about 240 degree centigrade. This AD is a bulky adamantyl group, and Ardengo discovered this in another JCS paper in 1991. Now, what is a key thing over here is the strategy which Ardengo used in stabilizing these carbenes, which are singlet carbene, means that these carbenes can donate these lone pair to metals and make a good sigma bond. Also, the way Ardengo stabilized the singlet carbene is because of the presence of two nitrogen heteroatoms, which would sort of pull the carbene lone pair towards inside, and then it would have its empty Pg orbital partially populated by a lone pair on nitrogen giving on to the carbon. So, that is how these carbene were prevented from going back to their triplet state, less stable or not accessible. So, as a result singlet carbenes were formed. So, this is furthermore what Ardengo did is that Ardengo took help of bulky adamantyl substituents which would protect this lone pair from dimerization. So, this mechanism is of protecting using sterics by the adamantyl group as well as the electron donation from the nitrogen lone pair as well as presence of two heteroatom is called push push pull pull mechanism. Effect which sort of led to the stabilization of the singlet carbene, and to the extent that this singlet carbene is so stable that it has a very high boiling point of about 240 degree centigrade. It can be bottled, you can even buy it this singlet carbene and then use it for complexation with the metal, and they are extremely a good binder to metals, and they form sigma bonds with metal. So, this is how another extremely good ligand for catalysis, that is singlet N heterocyclic carbene, came into being, and this also is a development which has happened, which had happened in industry, particularly at DuPont. We had also spoken about referred to as DuPont in the context of the fact that the first observation of metathesis of observing ethylene propylene copolymer from a feed of ethylene for olefin polymerization over a molybdenum catalyst was also indeed first observed at DuPont. So, here we see that another interesting contribution coming out of industrial lab, and this is this bottleable singlet carbene from Ardengo. Now, we are going to spend some more time on explaining the singlet and the triplet nature of the carbene as we go along, so as to help understand and appreciate the different types of metal carbene moieties that are possible. In a singlet carbene moiety, bound to metal the carbene lone pair is an sp2 orbital, and then there is a empty pz orbital, and that is why this is called singlet carbene. Singlet carbene is more common in Fischer, and then in Fischer carbene it is said that the carbon moiety has a heteroatom, and that has the following kind of resonance structure, which is elaborated over here. The metal is anionic in nature, particularly because of electron donation for the singlet carbene, which makes the carbene positive and the metal negative. That can so this is the ionic structure, and then there is a canonical form which is neutral, with another canonical form existing as M plus C minus X R, and that existing with Lm minus C X plus R. So, what we see that this has several canonical forms, primarily all of them are ionic in nature, except for one neutral form which is carbonic in nature. Similarly, one can draw structure for the triplet carbene bound to metal, and here also one sort of sees now here also it is a sp2 orbital. Now, the pz orbital is not vacant and also has a single electron, and hence it is called triplet carbene. As so, what one can see that when and this is called Schrock carbene, and the singlet carbene is in Fischer carbene. So, what one can see that singlet carbene Fischer carbene can engage in two kind of bond. One is ligand to metal sigma dative bond because of this lone pair being donated, as well as metal to ligand pi dative bonds, as is shown over here. Whereas, for the Schrock carbene, it can only make ligand metal sigma bond which is covalent, and similarly it can make metal ligand pi bond also covalent. So, in terms of Fischer carbene, both two dative bonds are made. In terms of Schrock carbene, two covalent bonds are made, and there is a sharp distinction in the reactivity of these two types of carbenes, as we have seen. Now, we will sort of take a look at Fischer carbene interaction with the metal in with more detail. So, in Fischer carbene, thus the interaction that occur this is filled to a metal d sigma orbital which is empty, whereas this is the sigma interaction and the corresponding pi interaction is depicted over here. Now, this one is empty, this is the sp2 field and this is pz empty interacting with metal d pi orbital and which is filled, and this is a pi type interaction. This is a metal to ligand pi and this is ligand to metal sigma interaction. And this is typical of Fischer carbene type of interaction, the way the carbonic moiety interacts with the metal center. Similarly, we are going to look at the interaction of Schrock carbene with the metal center. Now, in that case both the sp2 orbital as well as the pz orbital will have a single unpaired electron. So, this is called half filled, and the metal d sigma orbital is also half filled, and they make a bond which is metal ligand sigma kind of bond, covalent. Similarly, the corresponding pz orbital having one unpaired electron is also half filled, interacting metal sigma d pi orbital which is also half filled, and this is metal ligand pi interaction and which is also covalent interaction. So, what is interesting over here is that both the metal carbene moiety would look like to have a metal carbon double bond, a sigma bond and the pi bond. However, the nature of bonding in Schrock carbene and Fischer carbene are completely different, and which sort of results in different kind of reactivity between these carbenic complexes. So, we are going to sort of take a look at some of the interesting methods what have been used in synthesizing these carbene complexes, starting with the Fischer carbene complex by from tuxenyl hexacarbonyl. Tuxenyl hexacarbonyl in reactions with lithium alkyl in diethyl ether give the Fischer carbene complex as shown over here, and that when reacted with CH3 plus BF4 minus gave the Fischer carbene complex in 1964. Fischer carbene complex can also be synthesized by other method the way is shown over here. CO plus CF3 SO2H resulting in the cationic complex of rhenium and this was made by John Gladys in 1983. Another synthesis method involves reacting platinum dichloride PPH3 isocyanide CnPH in ethanol giving ClPT PT PPH3 double bond C NH PH OET, and this was reported by Chat in 1969. Similarly, there have been few extremely nice examples of method have been reported for Schrock carbene complex, starting with titanium dichloride as is shown here, Cp2 titanium chloride plus sodium ethoxide giving Cp2 titanium CH2 CH3. This was reported by Schrock himself in 1975, and another example was reported by Gladys in the reaction of rhenium Cp NOL CH3 in presence of PH3C plus PF6 minus in dichloromethane, giving Cp rhenium CH2L NO plus CH PH3. So, this is a important reagent. This is called trityl CH3C plus, and this trityl sort of abstracts a proton. So, this is a hydrogen abstractant reagent which sort of abstracts this hydrogen from methyl and converts into a rhenium carbene bond and results in formation of CH-PH3. So, this was reported by Roper in 1983. Another interesting approach for making these Strock carbene is shown over here. So, another started with Na2, it is a metallate CO5 plus this cyclopropane dichloride at a minus 20 degree centigrade to NaCl in THF, they gave the corresponding CO5 Cr carbene complex as is shown over here, and this is reported by Ophelé in 1968. Another interesting example or method for synthesizing is this PPH3 whole thrice osmium chloride NO reacting with diazomethane CH2N2 giving PH3 and minus N2 giving this osmium carbene complex with PH3 PH3 Cl NO by Roper in 1983. So, what we see is indeed interesting examples in which these carbene complexes were made. Another interesting one is discussed here, in which reaction of C5 H5 Mn CO whole to THF in presence of diazomethane eliminates a molecule of dinitrogen to give this dimer Mn CO Mn with CH2 CO in 8% yield plus M bound to olefin CH2 92% yield. This was reported by Harman in 1975, and last but not the least, another interesting reaction that involves cleavage of an olefin for accessing this carbene has been reported by Lappert, which took this olefin and inserted that onto a iron pentacarbonyl, which loses a CO to give this tetramethylene carbene complex which is accessed from the olefin. So, this is synthesized reported by Lappert in 1977. So, with this we come to an end of today's lecture, whereby we looked at this important intermediate of olefin metathesis, which is a metal carbene moiety. And then what we had done is we have looked into the various kinds of metal ligand interaction present in metal carbene moiety. We have also looked at Ardengo's bottle-level singlet carbene, the strategy and in synthesizing it, behind stabilizing it, and the strategy that was successfully observed while synthesizing these bottle-level carbenes. We have also looked at various synthetic methods which are available for synthesizing the original Fischer and the Strock carbenes, and what comes out of all this discussion is the beauty of organometallic chemistry in general, because we saw that work by Lappert, Hermann, Ophel, Strock and so many others, Gladys, led to different beautiful synthetic routes to each of these carbene complexes. So, that sort of explains the aesthetics and beauty that organometallic chemistry presents as such. So, with this I come to the conclusion of today's lecture, which looked into the catalytic species of olefin metathesis, which is metal carbene species in general. We have looked into classifications of metal carbene species, the synthesis behind each of them. We have also looked into various kinds of carbenes, including these otherwise so famous N heterocyclic carbenes and the strategy used for synthesizing that. So, this has been extremely fruitful discussion where we looked at the chemistry and the reactivity of the metal carbene species and carbene species in general and their relevance to olefin metathesis. So, more of this discussion on olefin metathesis would continue in the next class, where look up the development of olefin metathesis in bit more detail. Also, lastly, I would like to note that industry, as we had been saying over and over again, that industry had been a key player in development of organometallic chemistry, and in this context I would like to mention also here that the bottle level carbene by Ardengo was indeed industrial contribution. Ardengo had reported it from DuPont, and we had observed the same thing, that olefin metathesis, the integrity about olefin metathesis was first observed indeed at DuPont in 1956, when they were trying to explain the observation of ethylene propylene copolymer when they were trying to carry out polymerization with only propylene. So, with this I conclude today's lecture. We are going to be discussing more on the developmental aspect of olefin metathesis in the next class. Till then, goodbye and thank you.